Hi, and welcome to another video of For Such a Time as This. I just want to review that in my last video, I talked about all the negative consequences of not allowing our children and not allowing ourselves to honestly express our emotions. Sometimes we don't do it as a result of fear. Most of the time, everything's about fear. We fear appearing weak, or because we want to avoid the distress that comes along with a certain emotion. Or maybe we simply don't know how. I talked about all the negative consequences that come up with bottling up what we are feeling. And for some of us, we have done it for so long that we don't even know how to start. We don't even know how to identify the simple emotions. Let me remind you that if you don't identify and express your emotions in healthy ways, they will come out in unhealthy, ugly ways. For the majority of us, we start feeling irritable. We get angry, and we inevitably start letting it out on other people. And we project all over the place. You may or may not know what projecting means, but in psychology, this is a type of protective mechanism. And we unconsciously transfer our thoughts, our feelings, and our behaviors onto somebody else. We shift the blame to others when it's our anger that we are ignoring and we're not processing. So we just vomit all over everybody else. So what do we do to use our emotions to our advantage? If you don't know where to start, I'm going to propose a few ways of doing it. And this could be for all kinds of people. I mean, people who already are experts at identifying emotions, but it could also be for people that have no idea how to even identify that they're feeling sad or angry. But the first thing that I'm going to propose is to start slowing down. If you don't slow down, you will completely lose sight of what's happening and how you're feeling. You want to pay attention to your body. Everywhere you go, you want to identify if you're feeling something different. If, for example, maybe you're trying to avoid somebody, maybe your heart starts pounding or your head starts hurting when you go to a particular place, make a mental note of it. It could also be something positive. It doesn't always have to be negative. Maybe you're smiling a little bit more, or a person can make you feel good in some way. And we want to try to remember it. Try to write it down if possible, and remember what you were doing before, during, and after, if possible. Any possible thoughts or behaviors that you might have had at the moment. Maybe you hurried a little more or wanted to yell at a particular person. Maybe you did yell at them. Believe me, I know the feeling. Lastly, I want you to try to label how you felt. Did it make you feel angry, sad, happy, or embarrassed? Did it remind you of somebody in particular? Did it remind you of how somebody else makes you feel at home or when you were a child? Those are just a few emotions that you can start to refer to. But there's tons of lists online. There's feeling charts that they use for kids, but adults can also benefit from them. And you could start identifying ones that may be fitting in the moment. If you don't know, just kind of go through the list and say, do I feel angry? Do I feel sad? Do I feel embarrassed? Do I feel smug? And just see if one of them fits. So you could start really training yourself to really, really focus and identify how you're feeling. The goal is to start practicing and identifying how you're feeling. And with time, you can start identifying patterns of how you're reacting to certain situations and certain places or to certain people. Journaling is also very effective for some people. because you actually start externalizing how you feel. It could be a free association exercise where you just write down what happened during your day. Or if you are a more structured person, you can use prompting questions such as, what made you upset today? What made you happy, disappointed, excited? I do that with my girls. You know, what are the highlights of lowlights of the day? And we sit around the table and we talk about it. But it's not just for kids, it's for adults as well. What would you do differently if you had the chance to do it again? What did you regret about your day? And if you can do it tomorrow, would you do it differently? And of course, you can talk to somebody who you trust. And if something is troubling, that's very effective to actually speak it out loud. But if you do struggle with trust, or you don't have a lot of friends, then of course a mental health specialist is always recommended. If you have deeper set issues or maybe some trauma, of course you want somebody to help you identify themes and just the underlying reasons of your distress. Of course, praying about it is always recommended. Specifically, play by play, the Lord enjoys our details. And of course, it's not for him, it's for us, so we can hear ourselves talk about it. Presenting our troubles to friends and to the Lord creates a sense of accountability and support. It makes us feel like we're not alone. And it also deepens our relationships with friends and with God naturally. And it helps you take responsibility, which leads to acknowledging anything that you may need to ask for, maybe for forgiveness as well. It also strengthens our relationships, and we're able to realize our brokenness and our need for others and for God. And of course, it always leads to healing. And only then can we acknowledge and externalize feelings and needs. Then we have choices on how we want to proceed. If we want to continue the way we do what we're doing, or if we want to make a different decision about how we feel. But if we don't identify our emotions, we are not free to see where we need or want to make changes. James 5:16 reads, "Confess your sins to one another and pray for one another that you may be healed."